An open question as to whether or not we've exhausted the potential of an examination system. I mean, I've told this story a million times, and I make no apology for telling it again. But at an early stage in the development of standard grade in Scotland, we piloted an examination, and in the section it was a social subjects exam, contemporary social study, and we tried to set questions in the geography section, if you like, where young people were provided with evidence and information about a country which they had not studied. And the idea was to see whether or not they could apply the concepts, the geographical concepts that they had learned, to make sense of that evidence. And the idea was that geography fundamentally is a study of the relationship between people, place, and environment. And if young people understand that relationship and how it works, and if they've seen how that relationship works in the context of sub-Saharan Africa, for example, then they could apply that concept to evidence about the steppes in Russia or whatever. Now, I'm not arguing that that's an ideal example, but that's a very different way of assessing geographical understanding from the approach that we often take to the assessment of geographical understanding, where, and indeed young people would be panicked if they went into an exam and said, God, there's questions about Russia, we haven't studied Russia. And yet if all we've done is make student geographers of those countries that have been the specific subjects of study in their school experience, we have not made them geographers. And so it's possible to change assessment, even within the exam context, to reward curiosity. It's about having different types of questions. What you need to do is you need to be absolutely clear with schools what the expectation of young people will be. And you need to give them time to adapt their pedagogy to that. So it's an iterative process where you need to actually say to people, this is how we will assess. And then you need to have a discussion and debate around the implications of that for pedagogy. And that kind of assessment can be externally set, it can be externally marked, it can have all the objectivity of the current system, although people would argue that it's much more, you know, that the criteria are less objective, if you like, than this is right and this is wrong. But we've got that problem anyway. You know, we've got that problem within the current system. So we can work with exams if we change the nature of exams.